M&M, a pioneer in electric vehicles, Mahindra and Mahindra is now of the belief that electric vehicles below 10 lakh rupees are not for them, Karthik. They're saying that they want to focus on this brand value. They want to focus on value it adds by the way of electric vehicles, but not in sub 10 lakh rupee segment, because perhaps it takes a lot more money to make an electric vehicle. They're going to be more expensive than 10 lakh.
Sure. So, Shweta, number one, I think I'm sad to say it puts to rest the kind of speculation that you, Krishna, and I were having in the studio last week when we saw that MG is up for sale and the front runners included JSW among others. And we said, hey, it's a great opportunity for Mahindra and Mahindra to step in. I think somebody there saw our episode and thought that maybe some clarification is required. and yeah, so the clarification has come by way of M&M going on record and stating that it does believe that the 10 lakh, sub 10 lakh rupee market for electric vehicles has a great opportunity, but no thank you, it's not for us. They're saying very clearly that, you know, it's not a segment that we want to be in. M&M has toyed with the sub 10 lakh rupee electric vehicles in the past. Whether you look at the Reva, which got rebranded as E20 and got sold for a very long time, or the E-Verito, which was actually the Renault Logan, which got an electric makeover and continued to be sold in India for a while. And then I think the only takers Mahindra realized was the government. And thereafter, whatever units were left with Mahindra, they were sold to Blue Smart, which of course is a fully electric fleet of taxis. So for consumers, it has very categorically stated that the sub 10 lakh rupee price band is not something it wants to enter. Rather, it does focus on electric vehicles, but electric SUVs. And these SUVs, of course, the starting price right now for Mahindra SUVs is about 13 lakh rupees. The E versions added are obviously going to be far more expensive. But it does have a slew of about 5 electric SUVs lined up for launch between next year 2024 and 2026. So there are going to be 5 electric SUVs being launched, being introduced by M&M in the Indian market, but none of them are going to be in the sub 10 lakh rupee bracket. And that is a game that I think it is leaving to Tata to continue playing with the Tata Tiago, how do you pronounce it? Tiago, as well as MG Comet. So whoever the taker of MG becomes, a nice, beautiful two-car, very comedy-looking looking vehicle. But yeah, very clearly that's not the segment that Mahindra and Mahindra wants to get into.
Okay, so everything was in the realm of speculation, Krishna, up until last week, where M&M along with JSW could have been a front runner to get majority stake in MG Motors, but MG Motors has a wonderful SUV to offer, which is like a 2-door small car, and it's MG Comet. But Mahindra, they're clarifying, we're not going to be a taker for 10 lakh rupee or sub 10 lakh rupee variant of an EV. So perhaps hinting also at the fact that we are not hoping to acquire MG?
I don't want to over-intellectualize this, Shweta. Clearly, when they say that, it means that they're not interested in MG. But my question here is, I have other doubts. When we spoke about Mahindra and Mahindra and MG being a great fit for M&M, it wasn't just about the Comet. We're talking about the premium SUVs that the MG has in its portfolio, which could be a great addition to the value SUVs that M&M has in its SUVs and MUVs that M&M has in its portfolio. The idea was that it would be a great complementary set of products to what M&M has in its portfolio. The Comet being an addition, of course. You can't think about the future of cars without thinking about what kind of EV brands that you have in your stable. And the Comet, in the sense, is relatively new, untested, so to speak. Whereas Mahindra's own EV cars have gone through many testings, many ups and downs. And as Karthik was telling us, a story of Mahindra's electric vehicles foray. So in that sense, Mahindra making it clear, like even as they continue, having their churn in their own EV foray, they are not interested in the Comet. This will sound very well to all those people who hated the way the Comet looked, including Karthik, because it looked like a little box it didn't look like a car, and also it's nearly 10 lakhs. Why would you pay 10 lakhs for a box in which at best two people can sit comfortably? But and also it doesn't stylize the stylization of the features and etc. Was not the most attractive for a lot of people. Those people will be definitely happy, especially if they're looking to join the M&M stable. Then they'll be happy that M&M is staying away from MG. But I'm going to wait and watch on this one, Shweta, because we'll have to see how this entire sale goes about. Is it going to be split into 2-3 parts? Will MG's premium SUVs go to somebody, whereas something else goes to somebody? I really don't know. I mean, at this stage, it's all pure guess game. So for now, it's one thing is very clear. Mahindra and Mahindra does not want to have an EV which is less than 10 lakh rupees in the market. That is very clear. And to me, even that is not rocket science, because the Tata Nexon EV, one of the best-selling eSUVs, is not sub 10 lakhs. Nothing that sells well in the EV category is the sub 10 lakh range. So Mahindra making a very logical call in that sense.
Okay, and this brings me to the KUV electric series that Mahindra was expected to come out with, but its shelf plans clearly hinting at the fact that that's not the segment we are eyeing. And now they have pivoted clearly and they've clarified so far that we are not going to be eyeing a under 10 lakh rupees segment for EVs. We're only going to be making high-end EVs. At this juncture, what does Mahindra has to offer? There are, of course, new cars in pipeline, but as far as EVs is concerned, for the benefit of our viewers somebody who's hoping to buy an electric vehicle which is from Mahindra and Mahindra's stable, what does it have to offer?
Nothing. So the eKUV got shelved. The Verito is not in circulation anymore. I mean, it got discontinued a long time ago. And even the Reva E2O does not exist for sale in the market right now. So at present, M&M has got nothing in the electric category.
Okay.
Though if you remember, it did make a pivot from diesel to petrol in the XUV 300, and if I'm not mistaken, maybe one or two other variants also. But as of now, in the electric category, nothing. But 2024 to 2026 is where 5 electric vehicles are likely to be launched. But I think to give an analogy here, it's a business decision, which Krishna also mentioned, and I agree that it's a clear business decision that any good value car in the electric category is not going to be sub 10 lakh, right? So you will at best get a box like the MG Comet, right? Or a golf cart, as Amit just mentioned when Krishna was speaking, that it's almost like a golf cart, which MG will not be very happy to hear. But the fact of the matter is that Mahindra is also playing a brand imagery game here. So it wants to position itself as a premium SUV maker and not a budget car maker. So I think that differentiation is coming out very, very clearly. Apple, for example, will release a small-sized phone, let's say the Apple iPhone SE or the mini variants of 12, 13, maybe iPhone 14 also. But they're not going to be priced any cheaper, marginally cheaper, but they are not going to compete with the Android market. They are still going to be premium phones. So I think the statement from Mahindra and Mahindra is also very clear that we will introduce electric SUVs, but we will play the brand imagery game, we will play the premium game, and we are not going to be a vehicle that you can just go buy at under 10 lakh rupees and boast the Mahindra brand on.
But we're looking at a market like India, where I understand that a Tata Nano failed because it was extremely cheap, and it is perhaps a case study for many MBA schools at this point in time. But with Maruti being at the top of the game, with the number of passenger vehicles it sells in India, having a 60% share. Do you think at this juncture, for a market like India or for Indian buyers who would prefer a small, relatively unsafe, a small, cheaper car with all the elements that it can get for under 10 lakh, would they prefer that versus preferring a 15-20 lakh rupee electric vehicle car? I'm sure people who can afford will pay up, but majority of us would like to go for a car that gives you all the advanced features in way cheaper, in lesser money.
So I think different folks, different strokes. You can't really pinpoint as to what a person would buy or should buy. It's a function of affordability to begin with. And I think that is the prime motive and the prime factor that one looks at when going ahead and making a purchase of something as high value as a car. So those who can afford a bigger car. We have seen the compact SUV segment explode in India. We haven't seen those numbers, and this comes in the aftermath of the COVID lockdown. That you are looking at personal mobility, but you're not compromising on style, you're not compromising on features, you're not compromising on comfort. But it still seems to be a fairly urban metro phenomena. Those who need a vehicle to do the job of a vehicle primarily, and where affordability becomes a great question mark, I think the small car market is going to continue to thrive as well. So India is fortunately a fairly diverse market where the population being split fairly in terms of needs and wants.
Okay.
So the needs will continue to go for a small vehicle which does the job of transportation, whereas the wants will progress to something that gives them more happiness, and transportation is just one of the features that the car offers.
Absolutely. Wonderfully put. Needs and wants. But needs can be satisfied, wants can be enormous, may never be able to satisfy wants. But interesting proposition there from Mahindra and Mahindra, not looking to expand or continue in the sub 10 lakh rupee segment for EVs. It wants to position itself as a high-end car that is perhaps more expensive and better than what is in the market at right now.